Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe, right here in Lagos studio. Austin will join me in a bit, but this is what the show looks like tonight. Yes, the D Tigers, not a good start for them for the road to Qatar 2027. They lost to Tunisia in their opening game in Group C in the FIBA qualifiers for the World Cup. They lost by 10 points, 78-88 in overtime. In that overtime, they were outscored by 10 points. Just 5 points they had in overtime. Of course, Tunisia had 10. We'll talk about that on the show tonight. Yes, NWFL is back. It started last night. And of course, he had 23 goals scored on match day 1. So it shows the teams are scoring. And there were 2 5-goal thriller. One was in Lagos and the other one was in Yanagwa. We'll talk more about NWFL on the show later. And also, yes, we'll be talking about the countdown to the Africa Cup of Nations 2025. The countdown continues today. We'll be taking a look at another group that will be in action in Morocco. Yes, we're talking about Nigeria. We'll be A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's all we're focusing on today. Cameroon is in that mix because you have Gabon also in the mix. And Côte d'Ivoire, defending champions, also in that mix. We're talking about that tonight on the show. And updates from Europa League. We'll also be giving you all the updates from Europa League currently going on across Europe. So these are many more on the show tonight. And of course, Rivers United, they will be in action on Friday night, and they will be hosting the champions of Morocco, Moroccan champions, right here in Uyo in Nigeria. That's what they'll be hosting. They're hoping to bounce back from what happened in Cairo when they lost to Pyramids by 3-0. And on the other side of Berkane, they actually beat their own opponents by 3-0. So one collected 3 and one gave out 3. That's how it is in that group. So both will see how they can progress in that group. So Austin is joining me much later in a bit, but right here in Lagos studio is a Thursday, and of course, Bolo Moniye is here. Great to have you join me.
Yeah, good to be again with you. Although not so good news for D Tigers for their World Cup qualifiers, but I love that the women's game is back, the NWFL. I say it every time, when it's time for the NWFL, you don't stress to look for results. You don't stress to look for standings. They plan everything they need to do well. But as we are celebrating them, Rivers United have a huge, huge mountain to climb. I'm sure we'll get into the conversations as the show progresses.
Yes, that's what we're going to be doing on the show tonight. And of course, yes, let's start off with the D Tigers. The way they started, not a good start for them in Tunisia. Yes, when the game started, especially the first few points, we'll give you the start much later on once we have that slide ready for you. Confirmation of the results and also the boys that are playing this first phase of the FIBA qualifiers. You know, the list was confirmed last night. And of course, for the D Tigers, they actually arrived Tunisia also on Wednesday evening. So just confirmation of the results. We have that ready now. As I mentioned earlier, it's 78-88. Of course, Nigeria losing by 10 points. See the difference. Of course, most of these points, while this actually escalated, was right there. After they tied it and went into overtime. But then in that final quarter, they got out. Maybe they were tired or something, but that's how it happened just this evening. They lost their Group C opening game. So that's the FIBA qualifiers for the World Cup. Okay, let's take a look at the names of the players, yes, who are doing this for Nigeria. Just remember that, as usual, yes, you have to, just pick any boys. Guys, are you guys ready to play for Nigeria? Okay, yes, come to Tunisia. Usually that's how it happens. Okay, these are the players. You have Jordan Ogundiran, a point guard, is part of the roster for this tournament. Mike Nuga, of course, a regular guard. Stan Okoye, small forward. Christopher Obekpa, center. You also have Ugo Simon, a small forward. And Jinka Garba, a power forward. So these are some of the players for that final roster. Salif Zana, tonight he was on fire. He got the highest point for Nigeria, had 22 points, a power forward. Maurice today, they're also having 10 points. Just 2 players were on double digits in the game tonight, another power forward. You have Paul Diba, a guard. Ulisa Akonobi, a center. Ike Wamanu, one of these guys who are always ready anytime they are called upon, a guard. And of course, you have Guzo Kapo, another power forward. So these are the players. And of course, the coaches, you know, the coaches that are with them. Just the regular one, Mohammed Abdurrahman, the head coach. You have Jalin Akindele, former player who is now the assistant coach. Accompanying coach happens to be Job Nelson. So these are the coaching crew for Nigeria in Tunisia. Can they make it out of the group? That's a big question, because the A and the Group B the Group C and Group A. This is the window they're playing their own qualifiers. The Group B and D, theirs will be in February next year. But this is taking place right there in Tunis, outskirts of Tunisia in Tunis. That's where this is taking place. So this first window for Nigeria, not a good way to actually start. But sometimes when you lose your opening game, you get ready for the others, right?
Well, one thing they tell you in sports is, like the football lingo is, it's 90 minutes. In basketball, it's all the points together that matters. For the first 4 quarters of the game, Tunisia won just 1 quarter of it. Nigeria won the first, and I think the first and the third. Yeah. The fourth one ended in stalemate. So they won only that second quarter. But in overtime, maybe our boys were too tired, but they ran right all through. 10 against 15, 15 against 5 in the final quarter, and that's how it ended. It meant, I believe, I didn't finish the game, but I think they lost focus towards the end of the game. Winning the first quarter should give you ginger, inspiration to push on. Yeah. Then overtime, maybe they snooze, and they tell you, if you snooze, you definitely lose. It's unfortunate. Yes, like you mentioned, Talib had a good game. He got double point, 22 points. Maurice today, they got our highest assist, also got double points. But they need 90 minutes. Yes, you can take a cue from what River Super did. During the ball, you know, they start well, ended up going farther. But this time around, you are playing nations. The preparation River Supers had is not the same thing as this. You don't have much time to prepare together. They've lost the opening match. Is it all lost? Definitely not. There's still opportunity. There's still chance for them to bounce back and recover. But this should be a message to them that, yes, you are in a dire situation, but you can still recover. I think they still can do it. Most of the names are not names that surprise. Oh, I'm not used to this name. Yeah. Maybe that's good news for them. It will be difficult for opposition to know how to plan for them. But this is a loss, but not all hope is lost. Maybe they will do enough to bounce back from their second game. Yeah,
maybe they'll do that. As you mentioned, that first quarter ended 15-12. Nigeria was leading by 3 points at the end of the first quarter. But second quarter, that's where they actually lost it. They lost by as much as 6 points. They had 17 points. And, of course, Tunisia had 23. And you move to the third quarter, it was 21 for Nigeria and 18 for Tunisia. Of course, the final quarter, it was all tied on 20 points. It went into overtime. And, of course, that overtime, apparently, as you mentioned, maybe they got tired. And, of course, Tunisia outscored Nigeria by 10 points, 15 for them and 5 for Nigeria. So Talib Zana, we mentioned earlier, had 22 points, and his assist was 3 and rebounding 6. So highest rebounder for the team. Maurice today, as you mentioned, was also the highest rebounder, 7, and of course he finished with 10 points. But on the side of Tunisia, 2 players were accounted. 2 players combined for 54 points. Only 2 players were also on double digits, but the difference is those 2 players had 54 points. Osman Manoy had 25 points, 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Of course, Omar Abada had 29 points, 4 rebounds and 5 assists. So Tunisia, of course, carried the day. Austin, you ready to join us?
Cecilia, sporting greetings to you and our viewers from all over the world. Shout out to Bolu in the studio also. Cecilia, I was following the D Tigers, and you know, in a game of basketball, when it gets to overtime, then the team with the strongest mentality wins it, you know. And I think that's what Tunisia they did, you know, because if you check the way they cruised to victory in that overtime play, you could tell that they had monitored it. I thought Coach Abdurrahman and his team could have just done enough to kill it off in the fourth quarter. I like the fights that Tunisia gave them. And by the way, remember, there's a bit of bad blood going on here because they met at the Afro basket, and Nigeria told Tunisia to sit one side, you know. And at that time, everyone was tipping Tunisia to get the job done. Yeah. So there was a bit of lessons. Yeah. I see not so much of a change, but the new names in the team also. Yeah. When you know you don't have enough time to prepare, to understand strategies, tactics, you just want to retain your team. Easily, I'll just go with the same team that played the Afro basket.
Okay, Austin, what if those players are not ready? Do you know they arrived at Tunisia last night? Did we hear of any build-up to these qualifiers?
That's what I'm talking about, Cecilia. Remember,
some of these players some of these players will not come if you call them. Now, this is the thick of the NBA. The NBA players obviously will not leave to come and play qualifiers. You know that very well. So we have 2 players from the NBA in the Afro basket, right? You don't expect them to leave and come play the qualifiers when they know you're going to have a shoulder preparations. You're not going to have a camp. You're going to just tell players, you know what, everybody fly into Tunisia, because I'm sure that's what they did, because we didn't have any build-up to it. We were monitoring, if we are not journalists, Austin, I'm sure most Nigerians don't even know that the FIBA World Cup qualifiers is going on. It's because we're journalists, so we check for news, we check for updates, and of course we follow their calendar. I'm sure that's the reason we know that this thing is actually going on.
And I'm just because I'm trying to do my job to come here with my analysis and you know, give the knowledge that I know as regards the sport, because I have told you guys over and over again, until we fix our leadership problems with basketball in Nigeria, the sport is dead. Look, people are just going around this thing. It is what you sow, you reap. They checked it and look, it's just because we have to play. That's why we're playing. What sort of program was in place? Okay, even if we don't have the NBA guys, Cecilia, if you have a proper program that's got timelines, that's got proper long-term plans, there's no way you will not have players that can come, you just inject it, and they give you the result. But it's just because basketball is dead. The leadership is nowhere. You listen to the board member right after the final 8 in Port Harcourt. Look at how he was just going all over the place. Saying, oh, we know there's money in this team. Oh, we know want to bring sponsors. You identify problems. After you do that, you start seeking solutions. Since 2017, basketball in Nigeria has been in a state of coma, and no one is ready to revive it. We'll keep struggling.
Yeah, we'll keep struggling, right? We just find, maybe, I don't know if we'll have to call out the National Sports Commission here, because I think this is where they have to come in. I mean, they've been in charge for 1 year now. I thought the first thing they would do is fix the basketball, because basketball after football, that's the second sport. Yes, they were celebrating the Tigress' success, and we've said it over and over again. The success of the Tigress is for the girls. The success belongs to them. Nobody actually worked it out for them. Remember when they were supposed to play the homecoming game they were supposed to play in Abuja? They didn't hold. It didn't take place. So they didn't have the same thing too. So it just happened that those guys are hungry. I mean, they are more fired up. I don't know when it comes to women. There's just something that drives them. I need to win. And that fire is always there. But for the men, you know, when you have a better prepared team, I don't know. Okay, do we leave it there, right? Let's leave that.
Thinking about what you're saying now, look at it in football, is the same thing. Okay. Look at it in para sports, is the same thing. We raise the men more, but unfortunately the women are the ones who bring home laurels, are the ones who make us proud. But beyond the one gender problem, we need to look. We need facilities. I will always go back to a few years. I think it was Austin who interviewed our best para table tennis analyst, Agumbiade, and he said the equipment he trained with 20 years earlier were the same ones they practiced with. And the 19, 18-year-olds they played at the Paralympics were used to the modern facilities. You cannot grow sports without having facilities. You may have all the talent in the world. If you don't have proper facilities, modern-day facilities, we'll only keep hoping. And that can only work when we have people, I mean administrators, not just federations, both the NSC, everyone. It's not enough to, oh, these sports have done well, let's gather them. This basketball, for all the sports, table tennis and the likes to work out well, we need administrators who are intentional, and we need facilities. Intentional.
I love that. Who are intentional, who understands that, yes, you need to have a viable league, a full-fledged league. NBA, 84 games in the season. I mean, how many do we play in Nigeria? I think. Okay, we'll leave it there. There's no need to compare, right? Okay, let's quickly talk about the Women's League, of course. NWFL, yes, getting our attention right now. We'll just run through the results of what happened on Wednesday across Nigeria. And, of course, starting off with what happened in Adamawa, where the pace-setters Queens, they couldn't set that pace in Adamawa. They lost 2-0. We're starting off with Group A results on match day 1. Heartland Queens were 2-1 winners over Ekiti Queens. Niger Rattlers and Ibom Angels, that game ended goalless. One of the goalless games that happened on match day 1. Bayelsa Queens and Edo Queens, there's a 5-0 thriller. It is a penalty, the last kick of the game from the sport. That's how Bayelsa Queens were able to break the heart of Edo Queens, who scored first in that game. We'll talk more about that on the show. Danas Ladies and Oshun Base, this was also another 5-goal thriller. This happened in Lagos, 3-2. Nasarawa Amazons and Delta Queens, Nasarawa Amazons winning by 2-1. Confluence Queens and Abia Angels, it ended 2-all. Sunshine Queens lost at home to FC Robo. That was the only away match that happened, you know, in the league. And of course, this new team, Ahundiema Queens and Ramosters Ladies, it ended goalless. So these are the results for you. So let's take a look at that star game. We'll call it the star match because we are former champions and the holders in action on Wednesday right there in Yanagoa. Now, this game ended 3-2. And, of course, Edo Queens, they scored first. And the happiness and joy that came immediately. They scored that goal. You thought, okay, they are winning this, but somehow they lost it 3-2. This is one of the most painful games, I'm sure, that happened on Wednesday.
The interesting thing is they got a very late equalizer. After Bayelsa points, the home team led 2-1. It felt like, oh, this equalizer came in the 85th minute at Dana Wachuku, and oh, the game was going to end in a draw without any doubt. Until the 90th minute, boom, Blessing scored the winner. That's the heart of football. Joy on one side, sadness on the other side. That's what this brings. I like it when messages like this go across to those in charge of our game, telling them, if you think there's no passion in this thing anymore, watch out the celebration of Bayelsa Queens who got the late winner. Watch out the sadness on the looks of the Edo Queens who lost that match. They will tell you how painful it is. That is what football is. That's what our game is like. And I like the venue. I like the turf. Not the best, but at least not all those sandy things and all that we play on. I hope we can package better. Oh, definitely. We need fan base, we need everything. But for the game on the play itself, the match showed why the two of them are the last two champions of the NWFL. Beautiful football, great goals, 5 goals in any game. It's always a joy to watch them. When it's spread across the two teams, 3-2, that's definitely something exciting.
Yeah, definitely something exciting. Another game, Dana's Ladies, will also get our attention. Dana's Ladies also, that 3-2 thriller in Lagos. I mean, Dana's Ladies is one of the newest teams, and I mean, Ocean Babes also coming to Lagos, and you thought this might just go either way. But somehow Dana's Ladies managed to actually do this. I love the beautiful goals that came, and just look at the dribbling, and of course she had to finish this up. I mean, I think it was one of the goals of the week because of the way she actually, you know, took that, just running across. That was Fatima Shalati when she scored that first goal before Kore Uluma also scoring. But those goals that came in late in the game was something to look forward to. Austin, I mean, the NWFL is back, and we are seeing lots and lots of brilliant goals from that free kick. I mean, that's from that spot kick.
I love it, Cecilia. I love it so much. Just match day 1, I was saying 2 5-goal thrillers. You know, tells you that the ladies, they love to play football. They love to score. That was the appeal Michelle Alosday was having when the Super Falcons was to play, and the fans turned out for that second leg against Benin Republic. I think more people need to go support our women. Please, 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 if you're out there across the centers, let's give women some support, you know, and they play beautiful football, and they score goals, and they don't fight. They don't bring the game to disrepute, you know, so let's go out there, support the ladies, you know, in your own way, you know, particularly if you have a team that is playing. You can buy them balls, you can buy them jerseys, you can buy them shin guards, you can buy them boots. It's about time we support the ladies, because we can actually see the transition with the way our women's team play. You know, the league has been a very good process for the development of women's football in Nigeria. From the Flamingos to the Falconets to the Super Falcons, there is no top player in Nigeria that did not pass through the league. And that's why we must protect it, because that's what we have lost with the men's team and the men's football in Nigeria. We shouldn't lose it with the women's game. So shout out to the teams. That game, I told you, Bayelsa Queens, Cecilia, that was going to be fire. And we saw it. You know, it was a good game of football with Edo Queens, and they gave us 5 goals. Love it so much, you know. And this is just, they're just trying to tell us to have a pip, that there's so much more to come, you know. So continue to monitor it. Shout out to the organizers of the Women's League. You could tell that they know how to manage the league. You could tell that they follow processes. You talked about the other team that didn't meet the requirements. They say it's not by force. Just step aside, and you need to do those sort of things, you know, so that. But let's look at that. Look at that finish. I
mean, that's Nasarawa Maisons and Delta Queens. Delta Queens scored first, and they thought this is it for them, because Nasarawa Maisons had to tell them this is our home. So they came back from a goal down to win, you know, that game 2-1. All the goals. Take a look at this one. That's goalkeeper holler. You don't do that at all.
From a beautiful goal to a goalkeeper's error, it tells you how beautiful the game is, and that people can make mistakes. But I love what we're seeing already from match day 1. We talked about this game also, Nasarawa Amazons and Delta Queens that to get us talking, and indeed we talked about, you know, Dana's ladies and them, you know, proving a point that they can actually get. Cecilia, I think 2 seasons ago they started getting us talking, you know. So I like that they are back with that same vibe. FC Robo going away to win. So much to talk about. It's the NWFL Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Let's go on this quick break. When we come back, remember, I'm monitoring what's going on in the Europa League, and there's still so much more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, Sports Tonight, on your award-winning, sports-loving Channels Television. Just gone by match day 1 of the Nigeria Women's Football League. It gave us goals. We saw goals from across the different centers, and it's living up to expectation. And we've said, wherever you are in the country, when you hear that the women are playing football, come on, go out there and give them your support, because the women's game is beautiful. Cecilia, let's get into the CAF Champions League.
Yes.
It's a win or win match for Rivers United.
Win or win, they did not have a choice. So the technical advisor, talking to technical advisor, Finidi George, he says, look, what happened in Cairo against Pyramids. Pyramids also, we know how big that team, that's the club of the year, a very big team, winning Champions League for the first time, winning the league for the first time. I heard that Saudi money actually came in, of course, they were able to buy all the players. Well, that's a big team. Yes, you lost away from home. Well, you're going to be playing at home. Yes, home away from home, because you're playing in New York. And Rivers State, I met Chris Green on Monday. I was telling him about, you guys need to build a standard stadium. So he says, okay, yes, they're working on it. And I hope next season, when Rivers, I won't use the word if, because I'm sure Rivers will want to consolidate on qualifications for the Champions League. When they qualified next time, they need to be playing at home. It's home away from home, but they need to be able to win this one after losing 3-0 to Pyramids. Now, they will be facing another champions, from champions to champions. They are not champions of Nigeria. It was the champions were embarrassed out of it. But you see how Rivers. So Renaissance Berkane. So the coach also is talking tough, saying, look, they need to put up something different. But you know what? Before I come to you, let's listen to Finidi George and also the captain of the team talking ahead of the game tomorrow night.
The game we have tomorrow. We knew the few mistakes we made in Cairo, and then we paid for it. I don't think that will happen tomorrow. We have all the support. We'll make sure we put in that intensity, that focus, to make sure that we have the maximum 3 points. It's going to be a difficult game, but I think the game we played in Cairo has shown us a lot. So we don't want to make that mistake anymore. We are not looking at playing a draw, but football being what it is, you never know how the result will look like by at the end of 90 minutes. So we are quite positive, we are quite positive that we will carry the day, So when it comes to tactics, we'll definitely talk to the players on what and what to do to enable us get the maximum 3 points.
We playing at home in Port Harcourt. It will be more. We'll be more motivated seeing our home fan from Port Harcourt coming to watch us and cheering us up. I'm not saying the Yo fans are not doing their best. They are coming out to cheer us up as a Nigeria team playing for the continent. As a matter of fact, the only Nigeria club representing the country. So it's not our first time playing here, and we have been getting results here. So come tomorrow, it's not going to be exceptional.
Home away from home, but then they want the fans to come to the stadium and support them. That's what they need to scale through this one. I mean, Finidi George, the tight corner. You said something behind the scene. I won't say it out because it's really painful when you hear that.
First thing he said, the fans in Uyo should come. Yeah. Their fans in Rivers United attend their own games enough of it, because
this is Champions League. Come on.
The truth is, Cecilia, we need to bring back. I know the things I heard growing up, but fortunately, I didn't really experience it. I know what our fathers, the principals, called the MPL, then our field, the stadium used to be. How did we lose that culture? Now, I think it's only more of Kano pillars that still travel about with fans, and we need to bring back that culture of fan base in Nigeria. A funny thing is, back then, they were paying for tickets. Now, even with open tickets, free stadium, people still don't watch the games. That's the football itself. RS Berkane, between 2019 and now, they've been to 5 finals. 5 or 6 on the continent. They won 3 Confederations Cup. They lost 2 finals. They won Super Cup. Lost 2. Hey, I don't know about home, but I think one of the challenges we have in the NPFL is more mental. Because not that our players are useless in code, they are not that bad. They have the talent. But when they get to the continent, it feels like there's this mental block that happens. And it starts from home. The mentality of we know if you win away from home. You will win almost all your home games and you lose almost everything away from home.
Warriors is defying the odds this season.
But when we get to the second stanza, then everything turns upside down. We need to maybe reshape our mentality in the NPFL. Some of the teams that beat Nigerian teams on the continent, I'm not saying these ones are not better. On paper, Berkane and Pyramids are better. But some of the teams we lose, you'll be like, these guys can't play football. Look at those that eliminated our teams from the continent. But we need to win the mental battle. I think Austin has said it a million times that football is being played not just on the field of play. Even before you get to the field, some of our teams have lost. Like this. We know the mentality our guys are going to, these are guys, Continental champions, Conference champions and co. But again, we've seen better teams in Champions League lose to Minos. Sheriff FC went to the Bernabeu to beat Real Madrid. So things like this can happen in football. Let's see, maybe Rivers United will be able to do that surprise this weekend.
PSV Eindhoven also beating Liverpool at Anfield. When Liverpool is suffering from slump. What word I would have used? Okay. Well, let's give you the fixture for tomorrow. That's the game that will be played at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. And that game will be by 4 p.m. That sun will still be up. But then Rivers United and RS Berkane, this game in Group A. And you have, as we mentioned earlier, that's the group you also have Pyramids, right? So, and then you have a Dynamos Power from Zambia. The 4 teams in that group. So all you have to do, win 2 games or 3 matches and you can get out of the group stage. So it's the CAF Champions League and Rivers United needs to do something extraordinary to be able to beat these guys who have been to the Champions League final 5 times, right? CAF Confederations Cup, they won it 3 times. Rivers United have never won anything on the continent. Austin, I mean, the gulf is very wide, but somehow, as we mentioned earlier, you know, we've seen Minos actually beating Super Eagles, for example. We tell you that, you know, when you can beat Lesotho and, you know, Zimbabwe, so you know that, yes, Minos play football, but then sometimes underdogs, you know, can actually upset the apple cart. It happens, right?
Yeah, different competition, different atmosphere, different mode of preparation. And in this case, it's even difficult to call Rivers United the underdog, you know, because all the teams that made it to the group stage, Cecilia, they've got just one mission, to try and advance, you know, and everybody's starting afresh. It's not the fault of RS Berkane or Pyramids that we aren't doing enough to, you know, take our football to that level where their owners reached, you know. I've said it over and over again. You cannot give what you don't have. And let me say it again, 90% of football is won with the way you prepare. When you look at Rivers United, not just Rivers United, NPFL teams, you know, you see, preparation is not when you go out there, you set up cones and you kick the ball. Conditioning, players' welfare, you know, the mindsets. It's the man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You know, the level of professionalism, the bonding, the camaraderie. It's a lot that happens outside. Look, when you watch Arsenal now, you start wondering, where are we seeing these beasts? No, there's just something about them sticking together, about not losing that solidity that they have built in the last 3 years. This same Rivers United, now, even if they go beyond this group stage, and even if they don't win the CAF Champions League, Cecilia, 90% of these players, look for them next year. You won't see them at Rivers United. So we are not building. That's the problem. We need to sit back. You say you spoke to Chris Green, and he said, oh, they are working on it. You cannot, for instance, just try to imagine it. Say, I have to close my eyes because each time I talk about this thing, I feel like screaming. The Rivers State government, with all the resources that they have, they cannot build a stadium that meets CAF standards. It's such a shame. For over, it's going to 10 years.
They're working on it. Next season, they're going to be playing their home games at home.
It's such a shame. And this is the same state that brought Real Madrid Academy. Pumped money into it in the same River State. Misplaced priorities. Tells you we're not dealing and treating this thing like business. And that's why we will continue to suffer. You listen to what the player said. Would have loved to play at home. Would love to have the support crowd. There's just something about playing on your home ground. The ritual. So when we keep doing things, I will just go and look at Berkane and what they have done with their football in the last 10 years before they started giving us this dominance that we're seeing. Small pyramids. I was looking at their 10-year plan. Cecilia, I was racking my head trying to understand what these guys have done for their club football, for league football around that region. And I tell you the other day, I told you that it's regional development.
Entered pyramids, Austin.
Cecilia, you went to Morocco and you were wild. You started doing videos that you were sending it to us. That this is women's football. Look at how they are treating it. No, it's long-term planning. They were testing things. You know, and those testings now, they've seen that, they have reached somewhere. And it was 360. It was touching grassroots, women's football, club football, the men's football. And we are seeing them now shining on the global stage. So if Algeria League is doing well, Egypt is condemned to do well. Tunisia is condemned to do well. Morocco must also do well. Even small Libya. It's regional development. But when Nigeria looks at Benin Republic that does never have pitch to play World Cup qualifiers, look at Cameroon, look at even Cote d'Ivoire, look at Ghana, we need to wake up. Treat this thing as business. It is rescuing economies. When COVID was happening, and then the Congress, the Parliament sat and said, which industry should we open first? Everybody calls Premier League. That is money right there. They couldn't afford losing money anymore. That was league football. Cecilia.
Austin.
So
maybe I think we need to do, there was something you were doing then, before you went to London, drama series. So we can do something about infrastructure and development. It should just be a series for 2 weeks. We'll talk about everything else. Maybe we can actually do that because sometimes, now, this is what we're going to talk about next. 24 days to the Africa Cup of Nations. And of course, it's taking place in Morocco. And that's where football is presently. Austin talked about 10-year plan. Yes, Morocco had that. In 2008, they had a meeting. They sat down and said, how do we move football forward? From that particular conference, that gave birth to the academy that produced 5 players that went ahead to win at the under-20 level, under-20 World Cup. So you see the planning he was referring to. So it's 24 days to the Africa Cup of Nations. Of course, today we'll be focusing on just one group, and that group is a very dicey one because you have former champions, you have current champions, and of course you now have one team that complemented that team. Yes, we'll see them right now on the screen. We're talking about Gabon today, talking about Cameroon, and of course we'll be talking about Cote d'Ivoire. These are teams that are trying to see if they can win the Africa Cup of Nations. And another news is coming from AFCON. The list of referees have been released, and there is no Nigerian referee. I was going through the list, I think about 74 something. I was going through the list. I didn't see any Nigerian referee, but that's not 73 highly experienced officials. You've got 28 referees, 31 assistant referees, 14 VAR officials, all of them appointed. I was looking through the names. I don't know. Did you see any Nigerian names?
If you see Nigerian ref there, won't you be shocked?
Now, this is VAR, at least assistant. I've been somewhere.
Do you have VAR in your country?
Okay. They could train. Okay. Before we talk about this team, let's go through the fixtures again. I wanted to do that before sitting down, but didn't come on. But this is the fixtures, December 24th. That's Christmas Eve. That's when Cote d'Ivoire will start their defense of their title against Mozambique. You have Cameroon and Gabon will also play on the 24th, and the other games will be 28th. That's Cote d'Ivoire and Cameroon. Now, this will be a star game because these two teams want to Cameroon is also not going to the World Cup. Okay. Gabon, it's fun, right? Yeah. So.
We're together.
Gabon and Mozambique. I mean, it's only Cote d'Ivoire that are going to the World Cup. Cote d'Ivoire, the only team going to the World Cup. So the others are not going to the World Cup. So on December 31st, you have Gabon and Cote d'Ivoire, and of course Mozambique and Cameroon will wrap up the group stage. Now, let's start off with Côte d'Ivoire. One of the defending champions, they prevented Nigeria from winning a fourth title. It was a tight final. They studied Nigeria and they understood that, you know what, we know these guys can't score many goals. And when it comes towards the 90th minute, they usually get tired and the coach sometimes don't make the right changes. So let's just wear them out and see what happens. Okay. It's still very painful. Yes. So let's start off with Cameroon. So Cameroon, they're not going to the World Cup, so they want to put everything in this Nations Cup to compensate their fans.
One of the most successful teams on the continent. They still have a blend of both the OGs, that are talking about the old guys, and the younger ones in their team. Although it backfired kind of for the World Cup qualifiers, even though I don't like that it didn't go. I want our best, but at the same time, I'm happy. If we are not going, let our friends to not go together. So Cameroon are also not going
Ghana,
to the World
South
Cup.
Africa, they are going.
Those ones, they will see that one group stage. So, but now let's just go back at that. But the game I feel everyone or will make a huge significance has to be Côte d'Ivoire versus Gabon. Why? Because both of them met each other at the last World Cup qualifiers. And the one ended in a draw. The other was, I think, a 1-0 victory. It means the final match day, if one of them or two of them need to win that game to qualify, it makes it more interesting. But we know Cameroon any day, anytime at the Africa Cup of Nations, they have the history, they have the statutes, they know when to live up, they know when to wake up when it's time for the Africa Cup of Nations. So any day, anytime, I'd rather play Cameroon in the qualifiers, maybe AFCON or World Cup, than face off with them at the Africa Cup of Nations.
Austin, that one, right? I mean, Cameroon, the big teams, I mean, the last Nations Cup wasn't a good one for them. After that, Lucisse left. They have another coach right now. But Cameroon is a team. When you see them, you know they're ready for business. Côte d'Ivoire, also defending champions. Obviously, they want to do something differently to see if they can retain the title when they get to Morocco.
Absolutely. Cameroon, they have pedigree. You know, they control the history. So they have a good history of football in Africa. And I think that's what has been helping them. Otherwise, if you put them side by side with the way football is administered in Nigeria, we are learning from ourselves. You know, we're just using the name that we have to play the football. But that said, that group is a very, very difficult group. I know people will easily just talk about Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, and Gabon and take away Mozambique and the work that they've been doing. And you see, at AFCON, feared teams that carry the underdog tags. They have shown us over and over again that when they have that underdog tags, they just want to go do something. For instance, Côte d'Ivoire, in their first game, you just need to play a draw and your campaign has started struggling in your first game, you know, against that sort of team. So I think Côte d'Ivoire will do enough, you know, to gather momentum because they will get into the conversation a lot. We've seen what Gabon can do as a team. The Super Eagles, one way or the other, just had to, you know, do it in extra time in that playoff. But if you go look at their World Cup qualifying series, they're very good as a team. They are compact, they're intelligent. You know, they play as a unit. I see a lot of unity of purpose in their attack. And they've got the evergreen Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, 402 career goals. Just two days ago, he was scoring a brace to stop Newcastle in the UEFA Champions League. You know, he's 36 years old and he's still commanding those sort of numbers. That's really good. Côte d'Ivoire, as I said, they would bank on the conversations that we have around them. Cameroon, I don't expect much from them. I said it clearly that they were not going to be feared against DR Congo. They were, in fact, I beefed Cameroon because they're the ones that gave momentum to DR Congo, you know, to come and play Nigeria the way they did. So I don't rate them at the moment because there's so much going on with their football administratively. They don't fix it. They will just be a laughing stock at the AFCON again. Let's wait and see. The football will give us the answer.
Obviously, give us the answer. You know, Austin, I was reading through some of the reasons. I don't know, I have to go back to this referee thing because I need to take it out of my chest.
Please do.
I mean, I was reading
so you can breathe.
Some of the reasons why Nigerian referees were not selected in '73. Now, some of the reasons include insufficient VAR experience. I mean, Bolu mentioned that. I was smiling when he did that. Then failure to qualify for preparatory courses. And of course, limited continental representation in the past 18 years. Not 10, not 5, 18. So we're going to do something about that. We'll leave it there. Okay, so you're going to be giving us updates, you know, from Europa League. Which of the teams are losing, what are the teams that are winning?
Cecilia, the way you landed with those referee criteria, I was like, why is he taking away the energy? Because it brings it back to that league football thing that we talked about when we're not having the proper representation on the continent. Our referees are not busy, they are not following current standards in the game. Are they going to now officiate a big tournament such as the AFCON? You reap what you sow. Let's go to the Europa League. AS Roma and FC Midtjylland. That game is done. AS Roma with a 2-1 win. Aston Villa did just enough to also beat Young Boys 2-1. FC Porto 3. Nice 0. Good result for the Portuguese team. Fenerbahce and Ferencváros played a 1-1 draw. Feyenoord lost at home to Celtic. That's a very good result for Celtic. They won that one by 3-1. Lille demolished Dynamo Zagreb by 4-0. Goals in the Europa League. In the Europa League, Ludogorets Razgrad defeated Celta Vigo by 3-2. 5-3 right there. PAOK FC and Brand played 1-1. Let me go to some of the games that are going on. 42 minutes played in that game between Bologna and FC Salzburg, and it's 1-1. Genk and Basel. Genk with a 1-0 lead. That game is just approaching halftime. And in Lyon, they went to Maccabi Haifa and they are bossing it. They are doing just exactly the same thing PSV did to Liverpool at Anfield. 44 minutes play, and it's Lyon 3, Maccabi Haifa 0. Tottenham Forest, Nottingham Forest. They did just enough against Malmo right there at the City Ground. It's 1-0 in favor of the English team. Rangers, they need to win this one. They have to dig deep, find a way to win it. 43 minutes done in that game against Braga, and goalless, Cecilia.
All right, we need to wrap this up. But before we go quickly, we'll just wrap it up with this referee incident, because I know you really want to talk about it all, right? Yeah, I mean, what are the things we can just do differently? Let's land here and live.
First off, it has to be positive officiating here, and our league has to be on TV. People need to monitor, they need to see. There are many irregularities we see in our league officiating and all, but NRA chairman keeps talking about their president and how they are planning, hoping. So I hope these are not just words. It says in the report that they failed tests as well. They need to do the right things. Hopefully, we're always banking on very, very soon we start to do the right things.
Okay. Austin, we have to go. Time is up.
Yeah, we have to go. What a show. Unfortunately, when you're having fun talking sports, the time just disappears. We'll come back again tomorrow. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
So, Bolu, it was nice doing this with you again.
Yeah, it was a pleasure coming around.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night, rest.